6, question 7. And before I start, I just want to let you know that I do have 4 children here, so if you hear anyone laughing or talking or walking in, I may pause the video for a moment. Just wanted to let you know that. But I've had students ask me about this type problem where it wants you to use technology. So I used Excel. So for the important information here that you will have to use is the mean, the standard deviation, and then of course x, which will change in the various questions. So we will do the first one. What is the probability that before the fuel light comes on, the car will travel less than 362 miles? So think about your curve. When you do 362, when you get your probability, it's going to be everything up to 362. So everything less than 362. So what we can do is we can actually use the actual answer we get for this particular problem. So what you want to do is, and I'm going to delete this, you put in equals norm distribution, and then let me just delete everything. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to type in equals norm, and then you're just going to click on that. And then it tells you what it needs you to put in, x. So for our problem, x is 362 right here. So 362, and then comma, the mean is 337. Remember, average, mean. So we're going to put in 337. Next is standard deviation. I believe that was 28 miles. So 28 miles. And then cumulative. Here we're going to always type in true. And that's going to give us up to our point we're wanting. So just type in true. And this is in the PowerPoint slides too. So your probability, 8.8140, before the fuel light comes on, the car will travel less than 362 miles under the normal curve up to 362 miles. That would be the actual number that you're giving. Okay, so think about the empirical rule. It will help you for that. So 0.8140, and just make sure that in your spreadsheet you can change it around, but it needs to be to 4 decimal places. Okay, for the next one, what is the probability that before the low fuel light comes on, the car will travel more than 296 miles? Well, the number we're going to be given is going to be up to 296 miles. So that is not our answer. What we have to do is we have to take the probability of the whole, which is 1, and subtract out the probability of less than 296 miles. So we're going to do 1 minus our answer. If you want to know more than, you have to do 1 minus what the normal curve area gives you. So let's do this. We know that everything is the same except our number is 296 this time. So what you can do is just come up here and type in 296. Now, so our area, we want greater than. This is less than or less than number. So we're going to take 1 and subtract that number. Hold on, you got to put equals in there. So 1 minus this number, and 0.9284 would be our answer. For the next one, we want to know between 307 and 327. So we have to do the probability up to 307 and then the probability up to 327. And then what we want to do is, this is going to give us the area, the probability up to this number, and the probability up to this number. What we have to do is take this number and subtract out. We want everything in between here, so we have to subtract out what is lower than this. So whatever number we get for this, we're going to take the top number and subtract out the area of what we don't want. So anytime you want to find the area in between two numbers, you take the top number and subtract out the area up to the bottom number. Okay, so let's think about that. 307 and 327, or we're going to do two different calculations here. The first calculation, we're going to do 307. So our first number is 0.1420. Okay, and then our second number, let's make this a little bit bigger. So I'm going to just remember this number over here, 0.1419884. Now we're going to do our second one. Okay, so this is the probability up to, or the probability of it being less than 307. So this is the part we're going to subtract out in a second. Now we're going to do the probability of it being up to 327, and that is 0.3604924. So if we want everything in between, we've got to, this is all the way up to 300 and what was it? 327, I believe. We're going to subtract out the area under 307 because we don't want it to be included. And we get 2185. Okay? So anytime it's in between, that's the way you will have to calculate it. I'll do one with a picture later because that will really help you see it. I can't draw when I'm using this the screen recorder. And then the last one, what is the probability that before the fuel light comes on, the car will travel exactly 333 miles on the next tank of gas? That is just 0. Because we're saying that it will travel exactly a certain amount. Okay? Our probability is covering up to. If we do up to 333, less than 333, would actually have a calculation, but if it says exactly, it would be 0.00. And let me just show you what less than would look like. I think it was 333. So less than 333 would be 0.4432015. Okay, and then greater than would be 1 minus that. So greater than would be this, and less than would be this number, and greater than would be this. So there's nothing left because that would add up to be the number 1. So if it's exactly that amount, below it and above it adds up to 1, that means there's nothing in between here. So that would be exactly 0. Hopefully this helps you get started on the technology part. If you were to have a question like this on the test, you would use a table. You wouldn't have to